we'll go ahead and get started. Tonight, we've got 9 items on the agenda, and purpose of work sessions to get the commissioners familiar with the items and provide some feedback. And so we'll jump into it here. First item on the agenda is public comment on agenda-related items. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak on any of the items on the agenda, this is a time you can come forward and speak. We just ask you to state your name for the record and keep comments to about 5 minutes. So with that, public comment on agenda items is open. Seeing no one jumping out of the chairs to come and talk, we'll close public comment and we will move on into the agenda. And staff's asked that we move item 7 up a little bit in the agenda. So with that, we'll go ahead and start with item 7, which is Town Place Fairfield Suites Village Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jim Carpenter, staff planner. The owner and applicant request approval of a site plan for Town Place Fairfield Suites, Village Green Crossing, to construct a 5-story, 136-room hotel on 2.63 acres zone CG Commercial General District, located at 950 Village Green Crossing. A variance permitting a maximum building height of 63 feet was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals in October of 2021. The applicant also proposes an alternate architecture plan, including EFS siding for most of the front and rear, and brick on the left and right sides of the building. Staff has mostly minor comments regarding access to the site and buffer yards, and would like to encourage the applicant that if HVAC units are located on the roof, that they be properly screened from 109. With that, we had other mainly minor comments.
All right, do we have a representative for the applicant?
Daniel Whitley with Arner Consulting Engineers. We're the owner's representative. I'll be happy to take any questions you have. We did have a couple of questions, but I'll let you do your questions first, if you had any.
I guess that just talking about Jim's comment about the HVAC unit screening, just because the elevations where 109 is there.
Right, typically the HVAC units are on the roof and the parapet goes up quite a bit of ways to screen those. We usually don't ever have any problem with those being screened from view. We've asked the architect to do an exhibit that we'll resubmit with these comments.
Perfect.
So, that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. That sounds good. And then just from the architecture standpoint, I mean, what's you guys are showing is what you're proposing?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no changes.
I think that looks good. We've talked numerous times about the 70% brick rule, especially in these hotels, getting them,
Yep.
to aesthetically look good. So that's a good looking building in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. So those are my only comments that I had. CJ, do you have anything from?
My only question is, there was a lot of discussion regarding the site to the north, I believe it's north of this, on the other side of the street at the corner, as it related to tulip poplar. I can't remember what decision we made as far as
Street-
like the
yeah.
streetscape.
Street trees, wasn't it?
Does this match that?
So
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll hop in a little bit here. So the ultimate decision on that was to have tulip poplar trees located within the street buffer yard. On the property owner side, not within the public right-of-way side, or what would be a public right-of-way side.
Yeah.
So the plans do not show a buffer yard on either Village Green Crossing or tulip poplar, so they'll have to add that. I did make the comment that tulip poplar trees may be required for that side, but I'm just going to leave that to this body to kind of give more direction on one way or the other.
Okay. But as far as the streetscape, I guess on the other side, it was a 5-foot grass strip, 5-foot sidewalk to remain.
6-foot sidewalk.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay, cool.
And I think we're matching those same dimensions. I'm pretty sure we are.
Okay.
And if, as far as the streetscape plantings go, I mean, we don't have any problems with those comments. We don't have any problem with any of the comments, really. We just had a couple of questions on a couple of the comments, just for clarification
Yeah.
purposes.
Go ahead.
One was, there's a comment asking, it says a final plat must be recorded. The lot is already a lot of record, so I'm just curious as to why we're needing to file a plat.
That's E911's kind of
Just a
generic
standard comment?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
all right. And then the other thing was, there's, I think, a development across, just north of this property that they're wanting us to match an entrance for. We've requested plans for that. Do you know where that entrance roughly is located?
I think it's fairly close to what y'all are showing. You might have to shift it towards the south.
So it's not a huge shift that we're talking about, just a.
Correct,
Just a small, shift.
Maybe a little bit closer to this one, but not directly.
Okay. And then the only other question we had is about the 40-foot throat. Is there any flexibility in that at all? Or, the only reason I'm asking is we're tight on parking, so.
That's something that we can look into, but our access management policies do say for
I
40 feet.
think we can make it work, but like I said, I don't want to lose any parking because of it if that becomes an issue. So, can I just get with you? I guess?
Yes, you can get with engineering. Yes.
Other than that, we don't have any issue with any of the comments. We're already starting to address them, so.
Are there going to be any meeting rooms in that hotel?
They do not have a meeting room. They have like a continental breakfast type thing, standard, but they don't have any like conference spaces or anything like that.
It's a good-looking project, so look forward to seeing it back in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, with that, we'll go back to, what was item 2. Toronto at 386.
Good evening, Commissioners. Charlie Pieri, Staff Planner. I received an email about Argento at 386 roughly 2 days ago with the applicant requesting deferral.
Okay. All right, so we'll mark that as deferred. With that, we'll go to item 3, Kennesaw Farms, Phase 7, Section 2, final plat.
That is another one of my projects. The owner and applicant is requesting approval for a final plat on Kennesaw Farms, Phase 7, Section 2. This consists of 66 residential units on 9.38 acres, zoned MU, mixed use, located at McMahon Drive South. Staff had some minor comments pertaining to insignificant details and a couple spelling errors, nothing too substantial.
Great, do we have a representative for the applicant here?
Heath Townsend with Southeastern Building Corporation, Project Manager.
Anything else to add to staff's comments? It seems like it's pretty
I don't
procedural.
know if it's a big deal or not. Curbs are down, asphalt's down. United States Postal Service came back when we had an E911 address issue come up, and they said we can't approve separate kiosk locations. They all have to be clustered in one spot. So we're moving them down to do you have the plat?
Pull that up here.
Thank you.
Is it page 1 or 2?
Right there is fine. Got a pointer? Keep going. Top left of the square section there,
Right here?
up higher. Right there is where USPS wants the postal boxes, kiosks.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but we just learned that last week. So, sorry about that, but we did have 2, 3, 4, 5 different kiosk locations all at the end of those little stubs, and they wouldn't approve that. And they made an issue when we told them, hey, we got to readdress this whole thing. And turns out we don't. We just have to add some. But other than that, we're fine with all the comments from staff.
Okay. that sounds like something you can work out with staff between
Okay, just
now.
making, I didn't want to blindside anybody, but yeah.
No, I appreciate that, but. Just out of curiosity, I do have one question about that before you go too far, Keith. How do y'all deal with parking if you're going to have more mailboxes in one spot? If people are driving to, stopping at the mailbox on their way home kind of thing?
We put it in the least likely spot we could think of where it would
Okay.
cause traffic congestion. We put it up near the front, we have really no room. We got water quality issues, we've got the roundabout, the islands. We even suggested possibly putting it in 7-1 where we already have a bank of mail kiosk, but that didn't work for them either. So they're kind of picky about what they want. So nothing against the city, but it came down to them that was beating us up on this. It's not beating us up, but that's what they need to see, so.
Okay, well,
But that had open space area there. The bottom right corner, the diagonal corner of that, we have fire hydrants, storm drains, water quality. There was just no way to fit it down here, so we put it back over there.
Okay.
We did have them at the end of all those little stubs,
yeah,
so that was gonna be tough driving in and out anyway.
gotcha. Okay. Well, makes sense. We'll look forward to seeing what you guys come up with.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, item 4, Tri-Water Development rezoning.
The owner and applicant request the planning commission to recommend approval to the Gallatin City Council to rezone 1.16 acres from the CS Commercial Services Zone District to the CC Core Commercial Zone District located at 460 South Water. This property, this is the zoning map. It is this property, corner of Water and I believe Shell. And it is within the downtown core community character area, playing Gallatin. This is a rezoning without PMDP. So, staff had mostly minor comments on this item.
Great. Do we have a representative for the applicant? Mr. King, welcome back.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, or members of the planning commission. My name is Josh King. I'm happy to be representing Ms. Yvonne Moore and the other parts of the design team on this project. We're asking for a CC zoning on this property in accordance with Plan Gallatin. From the 50s through the early 70s, this was the South Water Church of Christ, which has now then moved from this facility to Hartsville Pike. And it's been, I would say the nicest way to put it is a variety of different uses over the years. The last tenant was evicted when the current owner purchased the property, and we are going through a site plan process to fully redevelop this site, take down the existing building, and redevelop the site in accordance with the CC zoning. We've got Ms. Yvonne Moore, Andy Zhu, and Brantley Beeler with Gresham Smith as the architect. So this is a CC zoning, so there is not a development plan associated with this, but the CC zoning does have really good that's not the right word, is one of the most thorough zoning districts for regulating use and form on a site. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, you answered one of my first questions. Was it repurposing the existing building or tearing it completely down? So this is going to be starting all over. Is that,
Our plans are to move the existing building. Gresham Smith, they conducted a building reuse study on the existing building to see what could be salvaged. And it didn't come out so good. The interior space does not lend itself to redevelopment very well, and the neglected condition of the building over the past 40 years has not been kind.
is the idea, just looking at the plans, is to have some retail on the South Water frontage and then some more multifamily use with the rest of the building? That's what it,
That is our plan. Currently, We are looking at a 3-story building fronting the corner with commercial uses on the ground floor, residential above, and then transitioning to the residential neighborhood down West Shell Street. We are looking at a 2-story townhome type development.
Do you have any questions?
I don't think I necessarily have any questions. I think that this is obviously the first one to come through to move towards redeveloping this corridor, and I think it's exciting. Excited to see additional information that gets shared at the actual planning commission meeting as far as elevations and things like that are concerned.
Would we have elevations at our meeting in a couple of weeks, or is that?
We are working on that currently. The initial rough fit of the site and then what we got back with the survey caused us to have to rethink a few things and combine the buildings into one. Previously, it was 2 separated buildings. So we actually were on a meeting this afternoon, talking through some of that. And once we get a little bit more comfortable, once my client becomes more comfortable with that, we'll have a little bit more of an exterior elevation to show that it does meet the CC zone.
And then
And parking, you're going to have enough parking out there?
That was also another point of our conversation today. Technically, the CC zone is exempt from parking, but since there are no public lots in that area, we are providing parking in accordance with the zoning ordinance on the site. And it's a struggle, but it's something that we have to provide until there is more public parking available.
will that be included in the site plan that we see at the regular planning commission meeting?
We can include that as an exhibit, but again, this is an up or down zoning.
Yeah.
So the site plan would be approved administratively by staff, or if we need anything with the buffer yards, any variances on the buffer yard would cause it to come back here.
Okay. What's the overall density, do you know? Assuming it's less than what is,
Also in flux.
okay,
When the survey, the rough fit and the survey came back, there was an overall reduction in units. We don't have as much space to work with as previously anticipated. So there are still some things that are in flux, especially with density and parking and site utilization, but it is,
okay,
roughly 33 affordable units in the overall, in both buildings.
okay.
8 townhomes, and the rest are the second story and the back of the first story.
It's an interesting looking project. One thing I would just encourage you to take a look at is if there's anything you guys can incorporate into the project that would, prohibit or discourage on-street parking in front of the units, because that little residential road gets pretty narrow back there. And, that's one of the things I think we're seeing with the townhome projects that's becoming a problem in the city, is making sure there's enough parking so that the on-street parking happens a little bit less. But that would be my feedback. So,
Aaron, the city's South Water improvements does not call for any on-street parking.
I think
Not
he's
today.
referring to West Shell Street.
Okay.
I'm talking about this west shell that comes off of it.
I don't think there's the right-of-way in West Shell, but that is a great point. And Aaron,
I can't recall offhand. I can take a look into that and get you that answer.
okay. I think we talked about it with Nick, and I don't think there was. But we can, as part of the site plan process, that's definitely something that we can look at.
Just to make sure we're not creating problems that we wish we hadn't created, so. But, does anybody else have any comments or feedback? It seems like a creative way to reuse the property.
I agree.
All right, well, with that, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to item 5, which is Laurelwood Park amended preliminary master development plan and final revised master development plan.
The owner and applicant request approval of an amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan for Laurelwood Park to change the minimum lot size on 25.28 acres and R15 medium density residential and R10 medium density residential PRD, I believe. Located at Timberwood Drive and Drivers Lane. This reduction, the applicant proposes to reduce the minimum lot width from 28 feet to 24 feet with a slight layout change and removing cul-de-sacs, or a cul-de-sac here in phase 2, and replacing it with a hammerhead. Staff had mostly minor comments on this item.
Thanks, Jim. Do we have a representative for the applicant?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cal Gentry, Civil Land Company, Laurelwood Ventures, along with Andy Pfeiffer with Smith Douglas Homes. Pretty much the same plan we had before this body multiple times. We have our end user selected at this point, so wanted to update the approved elevations with what they had proposed. But we're here, we can just answer any questions you guys may have. Really, as far as guidance, would like to know how you guys feel about it, just a minor amendment.
Okay. So I guess talk to us a little bit, what's driving the lot width reduction, and is it changing any of your density calculations?
So, no change in density, so everything just gets a little bit smaller. Everything, the balance goes into green space.
Okay.
Helps a little bit. The slopes get a little bit flatter. The buffers get a little bit bigger, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Let me let Andy kind of explain. One of the benefits to going a little bit smaller on the width is they're going to move some stuff around internally. The units end up a little bit bigger, but actually a little more affordable, so.
Just allowing us to go to the 24 as opposed to a 28-foot product, it allows us to go to a master up as opposed to a master down. It's just a much more efficient way of building a home, and it'll allow us to sell a more affordable product to the end user.
Are there 2 entrances, one on Lorraine and one on Wayne?
One on Lorraine and Wayne where they come together, and then one on Drivers.
Okay.
I'm assuming engineering doesn't have any issues with the hammerheads.
Just as long as they meet the fire code, we want to see the turnaround, make sure they're okay with that.
How do you, just out of curiosity, how do you enforce parking in the hammerhead so that when the fire truck comes in there, it's not full of everybody's cars trying to find somewhere to park?
Same way you enforce it in the cul-de-sacs, I guess. By providing head-in parking, I think that will kind of indicate, go here, don't go there. And then, of course, I think Mr. Harris, if he wants us to stripe something, we certainly can. Yeah.
And we have plenty of parking?
Yes, ma'am. We've added some additional overflow parking, some parallel, some head-in.
It may be a conversation.
Ma'am?
That may come up as a conversation.
Okay. We'll look and see if there's other areas as well.
Thanks.
Well, I'll encourage anybody that's putting the townhome product out, anywhere we can get extra parking is, it's a big deal with these types of products, so.
And it is a 2-car garage with a double pad in front of each as well.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit wider that way from a.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. But we'll look and see if there's other areas as well.
Okay, great.
But to give you a little bit of feedback, I'm not hearing anything that makes this rise to the level of being a major amendment. It's, so, I mean, you're not changing density, you're not changing the traffic flow.
We got a few comments to work out with staff, but I don't think it's anything.
Okay. Yeah, no, the elevations look good, so I think it's gonna be a good-looking product. So, all right, anybody else have any comments?
Density was a question. You guys answered that, so.
All right, great. All right, we'll see you back in a couple weeks.
Thank you all.
Yes. Okay, item 6 is 141 Gale Avenue detached garage site plan.
The owner applicant requests approval of a site plan with alternative architecture to build a 24-foot by 40-foot detached garage accessory structure on a .62 acre lot, zoned R15, medium density residential district located at 141 Gale. Staff has mostly minor comments on this, other than we want to ensure that this back corner is out of that PUDE. Outside of that, we have very, very, very minor comments. There are many similar structures in the neighborhood. Planning Commission has approved 2 on this street in the past 2.5 years.
That should make this one easier. Do you have a representative for the applicant?
Hi, this is Angie Hodges, the owner and applicant, and I'm Michael R.C., homeowner as well, but at the time we placed the application, I hadn't yet been added to the deed. Yeah, we're just requesting approval for a detached garage. It will be a post-frame metal sided 20 by 40, so enough room for parking as well as some shop space in the back.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty typical, so, and I'm sure Jim's explained that don't be shocked when they recommend that we deny it. So that's part of the zoning ordinance thing with the alternative architecture, which is why you're here. So that'll be their recommendation, but don't lose any
Did
sleep
point
over
out
it.
that there are already several metal buildings in the
Exactly.
neighborhood, and that wasn't to say everybody else gets one, I should. It's just to say that this is not unprecedented.
It's not, and that's what we're typically looking for is consistency. You know, if you have a subdivision that has no similar outbuildings, then we're gonna probably take a little harder look at it. But does anybody else have any comments on it? This should, yeah, I think this will be very, very typical what we've done elsewhere. So we'll just back to Jim's comment, just make sure that the building's not in that.
Yeah,
that
that's
PUD back
it's
there.
more my poor drawing
Yeah.
than anything. I will definitely make sure of that.
All right, sounds great. We'll see you guys back in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, item 7 we handled earlier in the meeting. So that takes us down to item 8, City of Gallatin Public Works Department and Engineering Division Parking Lot Expansion Site Plan.
Good evening, Commissioners. The City of Gallatin requests approval of a site plan to expand the parking lot to provide parking for employee and city vehicles for the Gallatin Public Works Department and the Gallatin Engineering Division on about a half-acre lot located at 623 and 641 Long Hollow Pike. Staff really doesn't have any comments related to this one. Engineering has done a pretty good job at making sure all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted for it.
Sounds good. Do we have a representative for the applicant, or it's it's your turn?
Yeah, this is to add, I think there's 22 9 by 20 spots and then 5 10 by 40 oversized spaces. It'll accommodate the existing engineering, stormwater employees. There's 13 employees and 7 city vehicles. We have 2 signal techs and their vehicles, but currently they are in the Public Works building. So this will give us a space for all of our employee and personal vehicles to be behind the fence and allow for the parking spaces on both sides of the building to be used for citizens or developers, community.
Does it change any of your stormwater requirements? Do you have enough already in place for it, or is there any changes to detention or retention?
There's some minor changes. Right now, we're looking at adding a water quality units in the parking area that is subject to change based off of where we hit rock.
Like an aqua swirl? Like an aqua swirl?
I don't know if it's called out. I think it's on that sheet.
Say yes, but I have no idea what that means, so.
I don't know the brand of it, but that's Lance's forte.
We told them they needed to do a smorgasbord of different options of drainage, how that, so they can use that as a display for all
Yeah.
developers that come in.
Yeah. Well, just make sure Lance is as thorough on himself as he is on everybody else.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Make sure you have all the notes on the
It's-
plans.
It's listed as AquaShield AS4.
Wait,
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any issues with adding some parking, so. All right, we'll see you back a couple of weeks. I mean. All right, that takes us to item 9, Woods Ferry right-of-way abandonment and vacation.
Jim Carpenter, staff planner. So this kind of leads back to where we left off last Monday night.
Yep.
The applicant has not been able to, or have not received anything from the applicant in terms of like an updated design or anything. They may have something.
I sent 2 PDFs earlier, but it wasn't, I didn't get back to my computer until 4.
Okay. You have them on a flash?
No, I wasn't that smart.
All right. Be right back.
They're on your email?
Be right back.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's fine. If you've got something that we can look at, that'll.
I guess we got into the discussion, this was right-of-way abandonment Monday, but it got into access and somehow community safety, which I'm not sure how that, we transitioned into that. But we do have a plan for access. There was one, it's simply a right-in, right-out on South Water. And then another that we can right in on South Water and then basically turn around in the site and use the right-of-way that we're talking about to exit the site. So I've got those, I sent those to him. Like I said, it was at 4, but I have these two.
We wait on poll.
We can wait.
Yeah, we can wait a few minutes before we pull it up.
You don't mind.
Brian Hamilton with Nashville Civil.
I guess while we're waiting for Jim, are there any announcements, Brian, that we want to jump around a little bit while we're waiting a few minutes?
Only that we are working on planning some consultant interviews with the planning commission members. And so we'd like to get some availability from you all. We're going to send out an email tomorrow, but I'm going to list off the dates just for you here tonight so you can kind of begin to think about days that you might be able to be available. We'd like to try to get all the planning commission on the same day if possible so that it makes it efficient. And we're going to do one-on-one interviews with the consultant and you, each of you separately, just to kind of go through, ask some basic questions on, where you kind of feel like maybe some focus should be, opportunity to just engage with you as a policymaker here with the city and kind of figure out what your goals and ideas and opinions might be. The dates are March 27th, March 28th in the afternoon only, March 29th, April 1st, April 11th, and April 12th. I'm also asking the same schedule for the city council members. I sent an email over to Mayor Brown here earlier this afternoon. You may not have seen that yet, but basically asking the same thing for availability for the city council members.
How long would you think the meetings would be?
30 minutes, give or take, a little bit. So they'll likely try to start on the hour, go for 30 minutes. If it bleeds over a little bit, that's okay. We'll start the next one on the hour again so potentially a small break in between.
Are you trying to do it on the same day if possible?
All on the same day if we can, yeah.
Well, we'll look for
So,
your email.
yeah, and then, of course, I'm guessing you don't all have your calendar sitting in front of you.
No.
So I'm not expecting a response on that, but if we can get that fairly quickly, that way we can kind of come up with the right dates for doing this, that'd be great.
Sounds great. So let's jump back to we got him loaded up and then we'll finish announcements. And here we get to the end. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Sure, thank you. Like I said, we were talking about right-of-way abandonment, and we got into an access issue, or discussion. So this sketch here shows a, let's see, maybe hitting the wrong one. Where's the- So there's a right end here, and there's a good shoulder here on South Water. So, and there's already a gravel area with a big T-dot head wall on the north or the upstream side. So this shows just an access coming in, circling around, and exiting onto the 25-foot right-of-way that we're talking about now. And then another one is just really a right in here and then a right out, back onto South Water. Yeah, oh, and it's on, yeah, this one here. That just shows a right in, right out on South Water. And like I said, there's gravel there. I guess that was always the access for the property. And there's a T-dot head wall on the upstream, and those things are pretty big.
In that first example, first exhibit, where does that, if you're going up the old right-of-way, what does that tie into?
So the Theodore place is just, the point of our property basically touches the right-of-way to Theodore place. We may need to get some additional surveying right there.
Yeah, because I mean, question for engineering, if that connects up through there, is there enough spacing to make a driveway connection into Theodore?
I don't believe so. That's something that can be looked into. I mean, unfortunately, this is the first time that I'm seeing that, so I don't know how much.
Okay. I was just curious, so.
The property in question goes all the way up to the recently constructed road that was constructed with Publix. I mean, you're essentially, you would tie in at the radius return.
Possibly, yeah, like I said, I need to kind of sketch it a little better, or get some additional. It probably wouldn't be the ideal, but it could be a way to exit the site, if TDOT had such a hard time with the right out on the South Water. It seems that the access to this property it is acknowledged by TDOT as that point. That's why it's there. We were using what's existing.
Was that not before the other road was built? Do you know, Aaron? I know, I'm asking you things you need to research, sorry.
No, that's fine. I believe, I might have to look in to see exactly. I don't want to tell you wrong.
You said the road, I believe it was the widening there of South Water and 109 and the whole big, huge intersection.
Well, I know when I was thinking about this over the weekend, and we were, the property just to the south and the other side of 109, that came through a couple of years ago. And I can't remember, I think it was like a boat storage place or something, if I recall.
Gentleman that owns the place just 2 doors down, I think, 2 or 3 doors down, not far. But.
Yeah. So, but I remember, we went through the abandonment conversation there, but it was, I think that's where I'm confused a little bit on this project. With that one, we looked at the overall use of the property and, looked at more than just the abandonment piece of it and, made that decision. So, do you think by the time we get a couple weeks down the road, you'll have something a little more developed on this? As far as kind of the access concepts and what you're wanting to do with the property?
Yeah, I mean, I can improve this, definitely, a better scale. or more similar to this, make it a better drawing.
What's the square supposed to be on the first concept?
Oh, just a little coffee shop or a bank teller or something tiny. That's just all, yeah. I may have to rethink the circling, because I got thinking that they would need two people in the car, or they would need a passenger, so need to circle it the other way, I guess.
So I guess for Aaron, who ultimately controls, is that TDOT's right of way to get the access onto South Water, or is that cities?
I believe that's the cities.
Unless things have changed, isn't TDOT going to be looking towards whether or not the city allows the access or not to make their decision on whether or not there should be access and what kind of access? Like normally, whenever you coordinate with TDOT, their first question is, have you coordinated with the city? And have you received approval from the city?
I don't know that TDOT would be necessarily involved with this access.
If it was going on to 109, that would be a different conversation.
Correct.
Okay. And the other half of the right-of-way was abandoned to what's now the Jonathans, right?
I would look to,
Yeah, it was.
It was Winsong, I believe.
Winsong.
The development, yeah.
Would they not be involved though, because this would dump out into their right turn lane?
Or, let's see, this one would.
Yeah.
it's kind of tricky when you're that close to
Yeah.
TDOT's right of way, what they
Yeah.
would be concerned with or not.
So that gravel goes into the properties, right? That's basically into the right turn.
approach
dedicated-
taper.
That approach, yeah, for the turn lane. So that'd be something,
I think it's just a shoulder. It's an improved shoulder right now, I believe.
I'm looking like if the aerial photo that we have, that gravel area would dump right out into the approach taper of the right turn lane. But, I don't know.
Well, I guess from a feedback standpoint, anything you guys can put together that gives, a better understanding of what you're wanting to do with the property and how it would access, so we can go back to the conversation about the right-of-way piece of it, would be helpful.
I'll clean that up, make it look more like a drawing, or something to that effect.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see kind of how that works with, the turn lanes for 109 down for South Water, just how that all would intersect right there, so.
The reason why I don't think, it's not the approach taper, because the sidewalk is right.
Yep. Yeah, the gravel, I've got it up on Google Earth, and that gravel area that goes into, it's right where the lane starts to diverge into the turn lane, so.
Oh, you're talking about south, he was referring to.
Oh, well. All right, sounds good, thank you.
Have a good night.
But the agenda item, so we'll go back to other business announcements. Brian, sorry to cut you off there a minute ago, just trying to make some use of the time.
That's fine, thank you. So otherwise, I know Suzanne has sent out requests for any persons interested in going to the TAPA conference here in April. That'd be the 18th and
Yep.
19th.
Yeah, I received my hotel reservations today via email, so
She's got
I'm
five commission members set up to go, so I think we got a good group that'll be going. So I'm going as well. And so able to get some good education and,
Last year's conference was good in Knoxville, so I learned a lot from that one.
yep, this one will be at Fall Creek Falls. And, should be a good time. That's all I have.
Anybody else have any comments, announcements?
Yes. Sorry. So this person,
It was a kind of a rhetorical question.
unfortunately, this one's not.
Go ahead.
Apologies. So this guy, this owner at 503 Anna Drive, this detached accessory structure was hit by the tornado. So he came in today. So this is why we have very sudden notice on our side from a staff perspective. So this was, from our understanding, a 30 by 30 cinder block building. So 900 square feet. It's R20 zoning. And the owner is wanting to replace it. This was one of the affected properties in the resolution, I believe, that City Council passed. So there's no fee here for this, but he's wanting to replace it with a slightly larger building that is metal. So this was a nonconformity. Obviously, there's no cinder block houses around. But it is also being replaced by something that is not purely code compliant either. So staff is looking to planning commission to see kind of how you want us to handle this review.
Would we not handle it just like all the others?
So that is an option, to make him come back to planning commission and get that approved. We can do that on the March agenda. I have no problem taking that on and writing that staff report. But
Is there an option to where they can bypass that as long as there's other structures in the neighborhood that are metal?
We really need to get back to this being staff approval.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but, because, here's the reality. They're replacing a non-conforming building with a non-conforming building. How much larger is it?
So this is 30 by 30. The proposed building is 32 by 40. So 30% increase roughly.
What area is it? And how large is the lot, do you know?
It's 503 Anna Drive, so this is, I could pull it up.
Is that what the building looks like now?
That's what it looked like pre-tornado.
Okay,
I think at the end of the day, it's going to aesthetically be an improvement.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Curious to see how big the lot is, though, too.
Pardon?
I'd be curious to see how big the lot is.
The lot is right at 20,000 square feet. Give or take
Half an
1,000.
Half an acre.
There's a existing home on the lot that's like 1,400 square feet.
You're asking for opinions, so I'll give you mine. If you look at it and it doesn't look out of proportion on the lot, it's a non-conforming building being replaced with a non-conforming building. I see no need to make the homeowner jump through all the hoops and bring that back through here. I think that's something you guys could decide.
I concur with the chair.
All right, second, third.
Fourth. Anyone opposed? Is that clear enough?
Work for me. There you go.
Thank you. Any other business? Okay.
Do we have an update on our assistant planner status?
Do we have any updates?
I don't know if you all have heard, but she did have a baby, so.
I have not heard.
Thank goodness by now, right?
Yeah.
Baby was born on Tuesday last week, around 9:40 p.m. 8 pounds, 12 ounces, I think, something like that.
Wow.
His name is Noah, and both baby and mama are doing pretty well. So
Was he early?
I haven't heard a lot of update since that, but
Help me remember to bring a card next time we meet so we can all send her a well wishes, congratulations card or whatever.
If by some chance Jillian's watching the meeting tonight, congratulations, and stop watching this meeting.
No kidding. She better not be.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, Brian. All right, with that, we are adjourned.